So, if you are feeling completely overwhelmed by life's daily struggles and those endless, nagging doubts, I really want you to consider a pretty radical idea. What if I told you that you're actually not a passive victim of your circumstances, but literally the active creator of your own reality? I know, it sounds like some kind of philosophical riddle, right? But as we're going to see, this is a principle deeply rooted in both the oldest spiritual texts on Earth and the absolute cutting edge of modern science.
Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something truly mind-bending. We're going to merge the fascinating science of quantum mechanics with the ancient, profound wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita, specifically chapter 17. Our goal here? To give you a highly practical guide for living peacefully, finding absolute clarity in your actions, and actually excelling in a world that is just full of uncertainty.
All right, here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the quantum observer effect, then bridge science and ancient philosophy. After that, we'll explain the three gunas, talk about cultivating sattvic faith, and wrap it all up with the art of living peacefully. Let's get into it.
Starting off with Section 1, the quantum observer effect.
Okay, so in classical physics, the world is totally deterministic. A rock is a rock, whether you look at it or not. But in the microscopic world of quantum mechanics, that certainty just vanishes completely. Through incredible experiments like Wheeler's delayed choice experiment, we see that particles actually exist in a state of superposition. Basically, that's a wave of infinite possibilities until they are observed. This is what we call the observer effect. Think of it like a spinning coin. It's just this blur of both heads and tails until you slap your hand down to look at it. In neo-quantum physics, your consciousness is what actually collapses that wave function of infinite possibilities into a single, concrete reality. You aren't just sitting back watching the universe, you are actively shaping it.
Which brings us to Section 2, bridging science and ancient philosophy. Now, if quantum physics gives us the mechanical explanation of how reality is formed by an observer, ancient Indian philosophy basically hands us the ultimate user manual for how to actually operate it. It is endlessly fascinating how seamlessly modern science mirrors ancient thought here. That dualism we see in the quantum lab between the observer and matter, well, that's exactly what the ancient Vedic system of Samkhya philosophy describes thousands of years ago. They called the observer Purusha, which is pure, unchanging consciousness, the silent witness, and they called the material world Prakriti, the primordial source of all matter. So in this ancient framework, spirit and matter don't compete at all, they complete each other. The universe is, quite literally, a dance between your conscious observation and physical nature. And this brilliantly illustrates how reality stacks up, completely mirroring ancient texts like the Mandukya Upanishad. At the very top, we have Stula. That's our gross, observable, everyday physical world of classical physics. Beneath that is Sukshma, the subtle, unseen, highly probabilistic quantum world. Deeper still is Karana, which is the unmanifest causal root of all things. And the foundation holding this entire shebang together? That's Turiya, the fourth state of pure, waking consciousness. Every single physical thing you experience in your life bubbles up right from that foundational layer of consciousness.
Moving right along to Section 3, the three gunas explained.
So here's the absolute kicker. If your observation actively shapes reality, the most important question you can possibly ask yourself is, well, how are you looking at it? Like, what is the quality of your consciousness? This brings us to the three gunas. In Sankhya philosophy, Prakriti, or material nature, is made up of three fundamental qualities. Think of them as different camera lenses through which you observe and therefore collapse your reality. First up is Sattva, which is the lens of balance, clarity, and harmony. Second is Rajas, the lens of passion, activity, intense desire, and restlessness. And third is Tamas, the lens of ignorance, inertia, and just heaviness. Literally everything in the material world, including your own mind and daily habits, is a mixture of these three qualities.
Next up is Section 4, cultivating sattvic faith.
This perfectly builds into Chapter 17 of the Bhagavad Gita, which focuses intensely on your shraddha. That's your inherent faith, your inner disposition, or basically your dominant guna. In the Gita, Krishna tells the warrior Arjuna that everyone has faith for sure, but it takes on the exact color of their dominant guna. If your mind is sattvic, your faith is pure. If it's rajasic, your faith is driven by selfish passion. And if it's tamasic, it's rooted in darkness and delusion. Now this right here is where we pivot from theoretical physics to absolute personal responsibility. You literally become the dominant lens you view the world through. If you're constantly looking through a lens of chaos and anxiety, well, that is the reality your consciousness will continually collapse into existence.
Krishna explains that your dominant guna dictates your most basic daily habits. We're talking everything from the food you eat, known as ahara, to the sacrifices you make, yagna, the discipline you keep,
tapas, and the charity you give, dana. Let's just take charity, for instance. A sattvic person gives simply because it's the right time and place to help someone out, expecting absolutely nothing in return. A rajasic person, they'll give, but they want a reward, maybe a tax write-off or public praise. It's kind of done begrudgingly. And a tamasic person gives at the wrong time to the wrong person or just with total disrespect. Even the food you eat is categorized this way. Fresh, nourishing food is sattvic. Overly spicy, highly stimulating food is rajasic, and stale or impure food is tamasic. Ultimately, your daily habits are revealing the exact state of your cosmic lens.
And finally, we arrive at Section 5, the art of living peacefully.
So how do we actually use this ancient user manual to overcome our modern doubts, reduce our daily struggles, and really excel in life? Well, we have to actively shift our observation lens away from passion and ignorance and move it towards sattva. Start with your diet. Choose sattvic foods that bring you mental clarity rather than lethargy. When you perform your duties or give to others, do it without this desperate attachment to personal gain. Practice mental austerity, which Chapter 17 defines beautifully as serenity of mind, good-heartedness, and self-control. And honestly, most importantly, practice mindfulness to become the witness, aligning yourself with Purusha. By cultivating this witness perspective, you massively reduce stress and anxiety, actively training your minds to collapse the quantum wave of reality into a state of balance, clarity, and total peace.
It's pretty amazing, right? Science and ancient philosophy perfectly agree on one incredibly powerful truth. You are not separated from the world around you. You are intimately connected to it, and your consciousness is the bridge. Since the universe literally waits for your conscious observation to take form, you possess the ultimate power to shape your destiny. Now, the struggles and doubts won't magically disappear overnight. That's just life. But you now have a clear, actionable user manual to navigate them. So I'm going to leave you with this final, vital question to reflect on. Which lens will you choose to collapse your reality today?